I'm going to take you through the calculator, do a little bit of calculator fun so that we're not bored, and then move to ethics, because ethics is 15% of our portion. Right? So it's a big chunk.
15 is the biggest chunk.
Yes, there are two subjects that are 15%. One is ethics and one is financial reporting.
Financial reporting mean income statement,
balance sheet, profit and loss. Yeah, those. So and you guys are the last group that is taking the exam in 2020.
Our exam is in December.
Yeah, 2020. Last one as paper pencil.
Okay.
So starting 2021, the exam is becoming computer-based. Okay, guys, welcome back. And just a quick introduction. So my name is Sheila Ahuja. Just call me by my first name, please. No miss, no ma'am, no Ahuja. I'm a CFA charter holder as well as a certified FRM. Just a little bit of story about myself. Born and brought up here in the UAE. I did my high schooling here at the local backyard. I did my A levels, then went to the UK to do my bachelor's in finance from University of Manchester. I graduated in 2008, which was a terrible year. Lehman Brothers, everything was melting. So while my friends who had jobs were being rescinded, the jobs were being taken away, my father just called me and said, you know what, just come back. I came back to Dubai, and guess what? My first job was with AIG in 2008, which was exciting because they were at the center of that storm.
AIG, the insurance.
Yes, the insurance. So worked with them temporarily, of course, as a data analyst, after which I jumped ship and I started working with Majid Al Fateh, MAF. They have all of these malls, Dera City Center, Mirdif City Center, MOE. So I was on the project of launching Mirdif in 2009. It's 2019, Mirdif celebrated 10 years, time flies. After working with MAF, I started working properly with Altair Group. Altair Group is a local Emirati family. And I was working with them as an internal auditor, which was brilliant because Altair has 54 companies and I got to flavor or taste each and every one of them. As an auditor, you go ask questions wherever you go, you check the processes, you audit them, etc. So it was a good stint. I learned about logistics, I learned about motors, I learned about apparel, food and beverage, and they have precision dies and tools. They even own a petrol pump. So a lot of businesses under them.
It's a conglomerate.
It is. Family-run conglomerate. Mr. Matar Altair is the head of RTA, and Mr. Obaid Altair is, the head of, he's pretty much the right arm for the Sheikh here in the UAE. So,
Sheila, if I'm right, you said you are CFA
FRM.
and FRM means what?
Financial Risk Manager.
This is the risk manager.
Yeah. William's on his way to be FRM as well. So, done. Yeah. Oh yeah, you got certified. So he's an FRM as well. He's done FRM Part 1 and Part 2 with us. So yes. While I was working with these companies, of course, I started my journey with the CFA program. So I know your pain when it comes to working and studying, and it's not easy. You will not have space for anything else in your life. While I was working with Altair, I felt like I had to do something with my CFA. So I moved on to working with MH Al Shaya, which is again a conglomerate, but they're a Kuwaiti company, Kuwaiti family. And I was working with them as a financial analyst for two brands, Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret.
Good that you like them.
Yeah, well, things are tough right now in the malls, but working with MH Al Shaya made me realize that most of the money we spend in malls ends up in the hands of the very few. So MH Al Shaya has brands like H&M, Debenhams, Cheesecake Factory, P.F. Chang's, Texas Roadhouse, you name it, and it's under Al Shaya's belt. Boots as a pharmacy, of course, Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works that I talked to you about. So they have a lot of these brands, which again gave me a lot of exposure in the company. While I was working and studying, because by then I had moved on to my FRM program, I also started teaching, and that's when I realized my passion lies here, and so I took on teaching full-time in 2013. So that's been my journey.
2013, you've been with Edge Education.
Yes.
And Edge is owned by you?
Yes.
Okay, so
so it's my passion to train, and this is what I do day in, day out. I train all the 3 levels of the CFA program, and I also train FRM Part 1 and Part 2. which is an added advantage, because when you're going through the level 1 program, it's always interesting to know, what am I going to see again in level 2, and what am I going to see again in level 3? How important is this through the journey of your education? And of course, because training is my passion, so it's not always going to be learning. It's going to be learning with application to the real world. All right. So that's about myself. Let's hear your name. Introduce yourself to the group. Fantastic. Welcome on board. So, I'm glad you're taking on the CFA program. One of the reasons why I encourage people from different backgrounds to get into investing, probably not because you want to get into the job role, but I think it's a life skill, right? You should know what to do with your money. Where is the best place to put it? And if you want to understand the wider economy, it really, really helps. So, I'm going to put a question with you guys before I start the orientation. Don't worry about answering this question now. Feel free to give me the answer tomorrow. And the question is, this was asked by one of the CFA Level 3 students just last week. He said, Sheila, because of the virus outside, people are saying we're suffering losses. So if somebody is losing, that means there must be somebody that's winning. Where's all the money going? So that's a good food for thought, and he's one of my star candidates. So that's a good food for thought. Who's getting richer in all of this process, right? And then today morning when I had the FRM class, they said, somebody said, we put together all the debt ratios of all the countries, and the debt ratios of all countries came out to be negative. So who do they owe money? The aliens? Like, what's happening? So think about it and tell me tomorrow, where is all the money going? Okay, so welcome class of 2020. We're going to be taking you through the orientation. This is the quick agenda. We've done our introductions. We're moving on to talking about the CFA Institute website. We're going to talk about exam registration if you haven't done this already. The study support that CFA Institute can provide to you. We're going to talk about the structure of the exam, the program, the levels, the topics, the study sessions, the readings, and the learning outcome statements. The whole CFA program has been structured in such a, well, let's say, beautiful way that it can be a little complex when you're coming across it the first time to navigate exactly what am I studying and how much, right? Then we're going to talk about what Edge is offering you, right? The professional course package benefits so that you can get the most out of this program, the class schedule, the class tests, the online portal, and then what to do after class. Then we're going to talk about admin support, how the team on the other side can help, building amenities, and lastly, class rules. So let's get started. So cfainstitute.org, I hope you visited the website. It's, again, a very informative website telling you all about the society, the program, and the registration. Please register for your exam before the 19th of August. This is when the standard registration will end. And after this date, the exam fee will go up, right? And you don't want that because you don't want to pay more for the same exam. Upon registration for the exam, you will receive candidate resources. The CFA Society is very supportive towards your study. So you will get access to the CFA curriculum for free. Well, not free because it's already included in the exam fee, but you can download these PDFs. You can print them if you want, and you can, the best, what I like is you can do Control F on them. You can search whatever information you want from the curriculum, right? So you can download those. You will also get an access to a 1,200 questions bank from CFA Institute. Now, in your preparation towards the exam, I always believe that if you do questions or practice from the curriculum, you're doing it from the horse's mouth. They are setting your exam paper. They are giving you the practice. So do these questions with utmost importance, and then they will give you 3 mock exams, each 6 hours long, so that you can practice this just before your exam day. So we'll park this away until the last 1 month. Come November, we'll pull out these mock exams and then we will practice them. So download the CFA curriculum by going onto your website. And then the CFA program, just to let you know, comprises of 3 levels. You have to pass the levels in sequence. So CFA Level 1, then Level 2, and Level 3. As you know, Level 1, this is the only year where Level 1 is offered June and December. Starting next year, CFA Level 1 will be offered 4 times a year. Yeah, because it's going to be computer based. So there will be a Feb, March window. Then I think there will be a June.
Every quarter, I think,
Every quarter, yeah. So then there is a window each quarter, but any candidate can still take exams only twice because the waiting period between every sitting is 6 months. So if you took the exam in the first window, then you have to sit out the second window and then sit the exam in the third window. So nothing really changes other than the fact that it becomes a computer-based exam, right? Level 2 and level 3 still remain paper-based, and they're only offered once a year, which is why there's a lot of debate right now going on, because as you may know, level 2 and level 3 were supposed to take their exam June, but the exam got postponed and now their exam is in December, which is why they're stressed, because especially the level 2s, if they sit their exam in December, when do they sit their level 3? Because June will come around very, very quickly and they don't get time to prepare for their next exam. That's what they're thinking, right? So I'm guessing CFA Institute is going to try and resolve that somehow.
But it doesn't make sense that only once a year. I'm sure they're gonna make it as well December and January.
You know, actually, I wouldn't hold my breath because it's been like this since forever, since 1980s. The exam is only once a year. The reason being is the content is so much that even if they had it often enough, it would defeat the purpose. I'll tell you why. You know, I always have this saying, even a stopped watch can be right twice a day. So if you keep taking the exam, eventually you will pass. Yeah, but allowing you to do it more often lets you get through the passing screen. So that's why they keep it once a year, to reduce the likelihood of error pass. You know, someone passing without actually knowing the content. So across each of the 3 levels, you will generally study 10 broad topics, right? And the topics usually are your asset classes, like stocks, bonds, derivatives, and alternative investments, and then your tools, the tools you use to invest, like economics, financial reporting, math, quantitative. So your tools and your asset classes are your 10 topics. We'll talk about those when we're coming up. Now, these topics, to make them easy to digest, are broken into modules, right? We call them study sessions. So you will see for level 1, the 10 topics are organized into 19 study sessions. Fixed income or bonds is 2 modules, 2 study sessions. Equity is also 2 modules. Financial reporting is 4 of them, right? And so on and so forth. Some of them which are small, like derivatives, is just 1 study session. Each study session will then consist of readings, or what we call chapters. So let me take that from the top. Topics, followed by study sessions, followed by readings. Right. Now, in each reading, you have objectives, like you should be learning to calculate something. You should learn a concept. We call those learning outcomes. Right? So we can start counting them from the top. You have 10 topics, 19 study sessions, 57 chapters or readings, and I can't even count thousands of objectives, right? So each reading comprises of learning outcome statements, which we call LOSs. Okay, so that's your curriculum. We're going to pay attention to the top 2 topics, ethics and financial reporting. We said that these 2 guys have 15% weight each. So together, 2 subjects, you've done 30% of the exam, right? It's pretty straightforward. You should then focus your efforts on the 2 major asset classes, which is equity, stocks, and fixed income, bonds, right? They're 11% each, and that makes up 22% of your portion. Moving up the ladder, you then have the 10% subjects, which is quantitative method, math, economics, and corporate finance. And everything else just is little decoration all over the curriculum. They're small weights, but add value to the material, and they're at the bottom, derivatives, alternative investments, and portfolio management, 6% each. So very simple, 15, 11, 10, and 6. These are the 4 percentages that you need to remember. Now, why is this important and why are we talking about this? Because this helps you guide your efforts into studying. If you feel like you're spending a lot of time studying ethics and you're like, I'm doing moral science, this is like good behavior, why am I spending so much time? It's because it's important, right? So you shouldn't get frustrated over that. Similarly, with financial reporting, if you feel like you're spending a month studying the subject, totally normal. But do not spend a month studying alternative investments. That is just going to be wrong because that's just 6% of the portion, right? So this helps you guide your study for the future. Questions? All good? Okay. Now, the Edge Education's professional course package and the benefits. So you will have 43 classes. Note 57 chapters, 43 classes, which means we will be going at the speed of at least more than one chapter a class. So it's very important that you catch on. Since there will be 3 classes a week, you'll be doing almost 4 chapters to 5 chapters a week. That's a lot to digest, which means when you go home, you have to review and practice. The next is one-on-one training hours. In the event you feel like you're hesitant to ask me something in class, you're welcome to book a session and it's just you and me and we can discuss whatever you have issues with. I, however, don't recommend using these hours early. It's just the 3 of us, right? So you can ask me questions before class, middle of the class, or the end of class. Why waste your 4 precious hours now when you can save them just before the exam? When you need that time where you just sit with the trainer and say, look, I still don't understand these topics. Please, can you go through them with me, right? The next is the calculator. So I hope the team has given you the calculator. It's a financial calculator that you need to be able to enter this exam room. There are only 4 permissible calculators allowed on the exam day. The Texas VA2 Plus, the Texas VA2 Plus Professional, HP12C, and the HP12C Platinum. No other calculator will be permitted, right? The Edge hard copy study notes. Now you've got the first book in front of you, and it looks pretty thin, right? You've got 3 more to come ahead. So there are in total 4 books that you will be receiving. I like the notes because they're colorful, so they add flavor to the material. The next is access to the online portal. So I'll quickly take you through. Okay. Enough of coronavirus, and we move on to Edge Education. So if you've been to our website, or you can Google us, you go on to courses, you go on to CFA program, and you should be able to find all the information you need here, the schedules, right? But also if you see this little man on top here, click on that. It will take you to a login. Just going to go into the admin login. But you should be receiving a username and password. Yeah. So because this is the admin login, I'm seeing everything. But you would have access to the CFA Level 1 professional course, which is what you're enrolled for. When you click on that, you should get access to the class slides. So whatever you have in printed form, if you can't carry your book everywhere, you're flying or you are traveling, but you have access to internet, or you can pre-download them. Download your study materials onto your iPad, which makes it a lot more easier to study, right? So you have all of your materials in PDF form, okay?
Is the same as this?
Same as this.
Oh, okay.
So you don't really need to carry your book with you. And some people like to bring their iPads to class, download this, and just start marking it up right away. However, I would say that you can't print these because of copyright issues. So you can just download, view, and edit. In your slide packs, we'll be doing a lot of questions. So the answers to all those questions are here. So in case you feel like, oh, I didn't get a chance to copy what she was writing, you will find them by topic, the answers to every subject, right?
The answers to the queries that are included in the book.
Yes, correct. In addition to that, you have the updated curriculum. So if you want to have a look at the full curriculum, what is involved, what are the chapters, you can download it from here. This is again available on CFA Institute's website as well. So we've just taken a copy and dumped it here. We also have quizzes for you to take. This is at your own leisure pace. So for example, today we do quants. We learn about the calculator. You click on that and you feel a little, anxious to get started. It says re-attempt quiz because I've done this like 10 times to demonstrate it to people. But for you guys, it'll just say start quiz. So click on that. Start attempt. It will tell you that you have 5 attempts. Don't worry about that. It's just 5 times you can take it. And each time you do better, it will increase your score. After 5 times, your score will freeze, right?
You can still do it.
You can still do it, yeah. 13 questions, right? You can see the number of questions that you have here. That's a question, that's a multiple choice. You click on an answer, yeah. Move on to the next. Click on an answer, and when you're done, just finish attempt, right? Once you finish your attempt, it will tell you you've saved 2 answers, you've not done the rest. You can just do submit all and finish. And submit all and finish. And that's it. I got my first answer wrong, and it's giving me the reason why it is wrong. So it says C is correct because you're supposed to do blah, 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 right? And that way you can check the answers for all of them. Cool? Okay, so that's about the online portal. Let me go back. Is there anything else that I've missed out? The professional course. So you've got the class slides, the answers, the level 1 curriculum, and the quizzes, right? If there's anything that you're not able to find or see, just drop the team an email and they should update it or activate it for you right away. You have access to the online portal, progress tracking mock assessments. We don't believe in just teaching, and then at the end, we found out you learned nothing, right? So every now and then you will have a test. This is like our milestone. Works both ways. It helps you understand, am I really understanding the material in class? And helps us understand whether you're really studying or into it, or you're just visiting us for 3 hours, 4 hours, and then going home and then taking a chill pill. We want you to seriously pass this exam, which is why we ask you to take these assessments very, very seriously. Now, sorry for the back and forth, but I'm gonna go back to our website. And on our website, remember you went to courses, the CFA program. If you click on the schedule, which is the 26th of June, I'll just click on that. This is your schedule. Today is the first class, 26th of June. We're doing the orientation and calculator introduction. You also have...
So we're done in October.
Yeah. So you have November to revise. Early October, actually. So you have the whole of November to revise, and then December is your exam. The whole of October and November, actually. These are your tests. Your first test is on 13th of July. So please, don't tell me, Sheila, I didn't know. You know, it's there. It's already there on your schedule from day 1, right? So attending these tests is absolutely mandatory. They happen on Saturdays, and it makes no sense for us to ask you to come at the same time. So you're welcome to come anytime between 11 to 8, right? You take your test, and if you want your results ASAP, you can take a quick washroom break, take a stroll. The team will correct your paper, and the team will give you the answer script right away, so you'll know how you did. But if you're like, no, you know what, I'm tired, I'm going home, then they will mail you your answer script within a day, right? So these are your tests. So please take, I don't know why it says April, it's supposed to say October. That's a typo for sure. And so by 18th of October, you should have all your tests done. Now, the reason why I'm stressing on this so much is because there's something that EDGE offers is called pass protection. And for the candidates who have been with us, our program is pretty rigorous to say that if you attend 90% of our classes and you take these tests and you score an average of 60%, and then you still fail on the exam day, you're welcome back for a free training. No questions asked, right? Let me ask you this. How much do you need to pass the real exam? 70. So the word of mouth is, although CFA Institute has not confirmed that, the word of mouth is if you get a 70% on the exam day, you're considered a pass. Well, that's the exam day. We cannot expect you on day 1 to be like the exam day. So all we're asking you is to do 60%, right? Prove to us that you're genuinely serious about the exam and you're studying hard enough to get an average, not even every test, average 60. So it's okay to tank the first test, provided you catch it up on the next one, right? And attend 90% of the classes. If despite meeting those criteria, things went wrong, then definitely we are to blame, okay? So that is pass protection. I've walked you through the two conditions. Access to study rooms. We have a computer lab just behind us. It's very quiet. You're welcome here to come and study. If you are driving by, let's say between work and home, Edge is in the middle, you can just take a pit stop, study here for an hour and a half, and then head home, right? There's Starbucks downstairs, there's Cha-Cha-Chai, and parking is free after 6 p.m., right? So you're welcome to come here. It gets a little busy around just near the exam time when a lot of the CFA candidates are here studying. Exam registration support. Edge is an approved prep provider with CFA Institute. So if you have any troubles, questions, or queries, we will be able to guide you or help you in approaching CFA Institute. I'm not saying I know the guys on the inside and I can help you pass the exam. Right? I'm just saying, if you reach a hiccup and you're not able to get in touch with CFA Institute, let us know and we will support you. And if you're having troubles registering for the exam, just let us know. The team can guide you through the process. Okay? Now, moving on to the million-dollar question. What to do after class? So, we understand that when you're in class, I'm pretty much guiding you into what to study and what to do and etc. But when you go home, what should you do? We have a recipe which says 30 minutes reading, 1 hour practice every single day. So what you do in class, we just need you to go home and read that same slide notes for 30 minutes. Don't spend too much time pondering over the slides, right? It should be a quick read. But then you should spend an hour doing practice questions. Now in the beginning, you will tell me, Sheila, I only did 5 questions in an hour. That's like 12 minutes per question, right? Let me ask you this. How long is your exam? Your first morning session? 3 hours? And how many questions do you think you're going to get in 3 hours? 120 questions. 120? No, 180. 120, okay, sorry. I don't know why I'm thinking 180. Okay, 120. So that roughly translates to how much time per question?
1 minute?
1.5 minutes, correct. So 90 seconds per question. That's 1.5 minutes per question, right? Now, of course, in the beginning, when you start your practice, I don't expect anything of that. Even if it takes you 12 minutes per question, take your time, right? Go slow, go easy, but of course, you're not going to stay at that pace. Slowly build it up. Every day, if you did 5 questions on the first day, try to do 6 on the next day. Try to build it up to 7, and then 8, and then 9, until you come to roughly 30 questions, 35 questions in an hour, right? That's what you're building up to, okay? So, read the Edge study slide pack, mark up your notes, and add some more notes to the book. Guys, I wish I had someone telling me how to study for my CFA program back in 2008. There was only one training center in the all of UAE, and that too, we were learning via videos, right? There was no live training. This is something that I wish someone had told me is, Sheila, don't make a new notebook with new notes. The CFA curriculum is thousands of pages, right? Which we have done the effort of condensing into these little slide packs. If you're going to take a new notebook, start with your colored pens and start making new notes again, all you're doing is paraphrasing and re-summarizing what we have already done. It's not going to work. What you want to do is just use that book and add all your knowledge from every source into that book. So that book has a lot of white spaces. You will see white spaces on top, on the sides, in the middle, everywhere. Fill it up. Fill it up. And if you run out of space, take an A4 sheet of paper, fill it up, and staple it into this book. So this then becomes one central place that you need to study. Because just before the exam, you're going to open this book and flip through it, revise, and head in. You don't want to be like, I got to study this, and I got to study that, and I got to study that. Oh, no. You're losing the game, right? So bring it all into one. So mark up your notes and add more notes to the book. Very important. Prepare a formula sheet. Level 1 itself will see you doing around 200 to 250 formulae. Start early. today we're going to be kicking off with the calculator and a little bit of quants. And so you will see some formulas. I had a really cool student in FRM Part 1. You know what he would do? He had some A4 sheets of paper in his book at the back. Every time he saw the screen with a formula, he would pull out his A4 sheet of paper and write down the formula, push it back in, right? So he was making his formula sheet while in class. So at home, all he had to do was memorize the formula. So simple, right? So make sure you start preparing that now. Practice, practice, practice. Remember, 1 hour worth of practice every day. For every 30 minutes you read, spend 1 hour solving questions. So now that brings us to the point is, where can I get so many questions? Oh, there are so many places. Number one, redo the examples in your notebook. In class, we will be doing a lot of practice. Redo them at home. Number two, at the end of each chapter in the CFA curriculum, there will be questions. Let me show you. So as soon as you register for the exam, you will get access to the CFA curriculum, and you can download these PDFs, right? So let's say we're talking about quants. This is the first book in the CFA curriculum, Ethics and Quantitative Methods. I'm just gonna go to the table of contents. I'm just gonna scroll till I find quants. Ooh, here we go. So, quantitative methods, right? As you can see, this is study session or module 2. At the end of the chapter, you will see practice problems. This is what I need you guys to do. Page 351. So, page 351, you've got practice problems from the curriculum. Remember, the horse's mouth. Do these questions first. Once you've done them chapter by chapter, by the way, there's so many questions, I doubt you'll be able to catch up with me. But once you've done them chapter by chapter, then go on to the website, the CFA portal, and do their questions for quants. Right? So I'll repeat the sequence. Number one, edge examples. Number two, CFA book, end of chapter questions. Now the beauty about both of these is that you can test yourself chapter by chapter, right? Once this is done and the subject is over, then you go to the CFA website and do questions by topic. So you'll be tested on all of quants, not chapter by chapter. Okay? And then once you're done with this, then you go on to the Edge portal and you do the quizzes. And then once you're done with that, then you move to the Edge test papers. And you redo those questions, because you probably did them in the test. You would have gotten some right, some wrong. Redo those. And if you run out of questions, then you consider buying more questions.
You can buy?
Yeah, more questions. You can buy. There are so many third-party providers, like, I'll give you names like Wiley, like Kaplan, right, which is also called Schweizer, like Irfanullah. There are a lot of providers, right? So thing here is, every provider knows one thing. You're not after their notes. The notes are everywhere. You're after their questions. So when you're buying their questions, they're gonna be equally expensive. You might as well just buy the whole package, right? You probably can donate the books to someone or sell it off, but the questions are the crown jewel. The more practice you get, the better you get, okay? I doubt, most of the time people kind of fizzle out somewhere in between. They don't have time to do all of the questions that they have. So it's just too many questions for you to practice on.
How many questions we should practice we can get?
I like that. That's actually a very good question. 3,000. Now at the beginning you're like, what? 3,000? That's too much. Wait. How many? If you have finished the CFA website questions, which is an absolute must. Remember, how many did we say they have? 1,200? Yeah. CFA Institute gives you 3 mock exams, right? We said each exam, morning is 120, afternoon is 120. So each exam is 240 questions, right? So let's do a quick math. 4 through 6, 720. Yeah? So 720 questions plus 1,200. I've already hit 2,000. Yeah? And I'm hoping that in our process of learning, the examples and the tests you do, you'll do another 1,000. That's
even end of chapters are almost more than 20.
exactly. So if you just focus on the top 3, khalas. 3,000 questions is all you need to hit for the exam day. You will be fine, right? In the beginning, it sounds like, wow, 3,000. But guys, it will happen in the course of studying. You will end up doing those many questions. Some people do 5 mocks, 6 mocks before the real exam day. Yeah, okay. So where can I get questions from? Your notebook, end of chapter, CFA Institute portal, Edge online portal questions. Oh, by the way, that is also free. So you can, there are around 800 questions here. And then third-party study provider. We're partners with Wiley. We offer Wiley at 1,500 dirhams. It's add-on, which gives you 5 hard copy books of the curriculum in detail, practice questions of 4,000 questions, 2 mock exams, and a formula sheet. I believe in a layer approach of studying. Start with the basics, which is you already getting the notes from us. If you feel like this is not enough and I need more, that's when you add on and you add on, right? Do not buy everything and then say, okay, let's start, because you're just going to get overwhelmed because you have this to study and that to study and it just becomes too much. Okay? Okay. Mistakes to avoid. The 10 sins that we just don't want you to do. Number 1. Missing class. Guys, you'll be surprised at how much I can cover in a class. If you're left by yourself, you will have to put down a whole week just to catch up 1 class, right? So it can be pretty intense. If you miss a class, please inform the admin team to send you a copy of the class video recording. The classes are being recorded, which is why I'm clipped up to a microphone, right? We only permit 4 free videos per candidate because, remember, pass protection. You have to attend 90% of the classes live, and we're offering 43 classes. So you're only allowed to miss 10%, which translates to 4.3 classes, or in other words, 4 classes, which, by the way, we're providing it to you for free, right? So 90% live, 10% video, we feel that's a winning combination. You can make the exam. But again, I would always recommend come to class. Not submitting homework to the front desk on time. Every now and then, well, you don't actually have to submit it, but every now and then in class, I will give you homework, right? And it's up to you to go home, get it done, right? So that when you're coming here, we just discuss it and I'm not having to redo the math. Okay, the next is skipping or delaying tests. Remember the tests that we talked about? Take them very seriously. Candidates have told us that, Sheila, the only reason I was able to pass the exam was because of the beatings you gave me on the test. I really found out where I stood and how much more I had to work. And if that's done very, very late in the process, there is no recovering from it. So please take the test very seriously. Being lazy and falling behind your study schedule. It's very easy to say, hey, the exam's in December. I'll start July, I'll start September. No, guys, trust me, the material is like an ocean. There's a lot to cover. Start early, okay? Rewriting the content word for word in a separate notebook. Like I said, our objective is not to summarize the curriculum again. That's a bad habit. What you should be doing is, if you are referencing the curriculum, studying from it, and you found, hey, that's something that Sheila didn't teach us. Take the knowledge from the curriculum in your own words, write it down in that book. So you have all the information flowing into a consolidated space. If you do any kind of practice and you thought, wow, this question was amazing, copy that question into that book again so that when you're revising for that exam, the question comes up when you're studying, right? So like I said, bring it all into one place. Making short summary notes is a good habit. Not updating the formula sheet on time. Please make sure you're constantly updating it, because at the end of the program, you'll be like, oh crap, I got to start all over just to go hunting for the formula. It's a waste of time. Not asking for help when required in a timely manner. Please understand that my job is to help you. And I get a lot of very humble students who say, you know what, Sheila, I'll figure it out. And when I've got it all figured out, I'll come to you. Guys, no. That's my job, to help you figure it out. So don't feel like you have to do things by yourself in order to come back to me. Whatever mess you're in, wherever you're stuck, just let me know. That's what I've been trained to do, to pull you out from wherever you're stuck and then get you guys moving forward. What you can do by yourself in, let's say, 5 hours, I can help you do it within 15 minutes. All right, so please ask for help when you need it. Forgetting your calculator, stationery, and study notebook, please don't. So please don't forget your study notebook. These guys will not give you extra printouts. They have a limit on how much copyright printing they can do. Forgetting your calculator, well, very often I don't use my calculator, so you will be doing all the math in class, and you find that out very soon. So forgetting this device will make you feel left out. Leaving rubbish behind, making a mess near the coffee water station, or writing on furniture. Writing should be in the book. There is no coffee station now, thanks to Corona. But please don't leave any rubbish behind, because the next team will just come. The next batch will be entering right after you. Not signing the classroom attendance. Remember, 90% attendance. So the only way we track your attendance is through the attendance sheet on the other side. So please make sure you sign in when you come in. Questions? Yeah, okie dokie. Admin support and amenities. Believe it or not, we're open 7 days a week. So when I said we can really help you, that's when we come in, right? So if you're stuck, please just get in touch with us. Call, email, whatever. We have an SLA to respond to you within 48 hours, right? That's our standard guideline. So if we didn't, let us know. That will be a complaint, and that will be dealt with accordingly. So any changes in schedules will be communicated promptly via WhatsApp or email. If your contact details change during the course, please update the admin desk as soon as possible. In our history, the class usually doesn't change. The timings generally remain fixed, but well, the coronavirus changed a lot of things, so please make sure the team knows how to reach you. If you miss a class, please remember to contact the admin team on help for catching up. That's our number. WhatsApp, landline, emails. Coffee shops downstairs near the fountain area. There's a Starbucks and a Cha-Cha-Chai. And then convenience stores, because today's Friday, probably the grocery stores are shut. But we have a Bakeria and a Kmart. Class rules. Please don't come late to class. It works to your disadvantage because you missed the beginning intro, which can leave you in suspense for the rest of the class. Noise and talking. You guys are just 3 of you, quite a quiet group, so I don't have to worry. But you know, too much of noise or too much of talking is going to interfere. Dress code. We live in UAE. Be modest. Behavior. Be kind to your peers. So I understand that while we're studying, someone might have questions. Which takes us 2 steps back, which is fine. That's the process of learning. Take 2 steps back, move 2 steps forward. But be patient with them, because I'm guessing at some point you would need help too. Bring your calculator, bring your stationery. Breaks are every 1.5 hours. So we started at 1:30, it's currently 2:30, and our break will be at 3, and then another 1.5 hours later than that. Oh, the next one, my favorite. It's in red. It's called usage of phones. Not allowed. Right? We're not kids, so I can't really stop you or take away your phones, although I would love to. But let me tell you this. When I was working with Alshaya, I met with the VP once, and he said, Sheila, you know what's your problem? And I said, what? He's like, you need to master the art of being present. I was like, I'm here, aren't I? He's like, no, you have to master the art of being present. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, it's because in your head, you have too many things running at the same time. You're not here. You're thinking about something else, so you're already there. So eventually, you're losing out on both places. You're losing out here because you're not listening, or you're not drawing in all the information you could, and you're not there where you are in your head, so you're losing out there as well. So my story to you is, even if you're checking a WhatsApp for a quick reply or a quick message, you've took away attention from the board, from the class, which basically means you're neither there nor here, and you're losing out on both sides. You've probably given up work, family, leisure to be here. Don't make that sacrifice wasted. if you're just gonna be on the phone, right? Now, if I find you on the phone and I feel like you're distracted, I will ask you to keep your phone face down, right? Don't get offended. It's just me looking out for you because I want you to really pass the exam, all right? Any questions? Okie dokie. So that was the orientation, and let's get started with the book.